Hi, everybody. Welcome to the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today, we are looking at Zach Wilson's Hall of Fame preseason game analysis. We're looking at every single throw. We're looking at potentially some growth in certain throws, certain decisions, certainly a beautiful deep ball, but we're going to pull this thing apart and see if we can see the details and nuance and spaces where he still needs to get better and get better probably pretty quickly. So fired up for this one. Let's get it going. Welcome to the QB School. Zach Wilson Hall of Fame preseason game analysis. We're going to look at all the throws. Right here, nice little completion, strike right up on the dude's face. Decisive Zach Wilson where he knows where he's going to go with the ball and can let it rip is my favorite Zach Wilson. Dude's got special arm talent. It's about everything else, though. Right here, nice completion. Now, do I love 4-yard completions on 2nd and 5? No. No one does. But is that on Zach Wilson? Hell no. So right here, right up on his face. Beautiful throw right on the sideline. Great. Now, what is it paired with? It looks like it's paired with what I'm going to call an out, a little crosser, and we're going to spend a little time on this play because it comes up later in this game as well. Little backside in, and we'll check wide. So if you don't have to be a football savant to realize that you probably read this thing right to left. So probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's a great 7-on-7. Good luck reading through 5 reads in a preseason game. But he's able to get this thing off by hitting that back foot, boom, and the ball comes out quickly, right where it needs to be. Now, the thing about it we'll see later is he maybe plays this thing a little bit too quickly. But right here, this is outstanding. Again, Zach Wilson, decisive, let it rip, hit that back foot, boom. And again, see the ball location right up on his face. Now, is it his fault that the tight end carves this thing back and doesn't get a first down? No. Boom. Love it. Dude's always had a talented arm. I think it's just about being able to go from where to go with the ball and being consistent with it. Next one here, 3rd and 2. Now, this is one of those plays where I think it's got a lot of things to kind of make sense of. I'm going to call this an iteration of mesh. Now, at the end of the day, I think that there's some to like from Zach Wilson on this play and some, areas where we'd love to see more. And so the first part is he doesn't make a muddy decision. He doesn't throw it into harm's way. Right here, would love to see him put a move on and get that first, right? Like nobody wants a turf monster right here. He's a good enough athlete right there where you would expect to change the direction, put a move on, fall forward, get a first down. So that's unfortunate. Now, the other part of this that I think muddies the whole thing is that the read of this for me is not great. So it looks like he's working this with what looks like pretty tight coverage. I mean, a borderline like illegal contact down the field, but paired with what looks like and what we're going to call mesh. So coming from across here, this little meshy thing here with a basic or an end. So just understanding how to read this thing, it sure looks like it's 1 up top, 2 over the ball, and then 3 right here. Now, of course, it's easy for me to sit here with a clicker and say, hey, just get to number 3. But I think he really could, and I think he'd help himself if this mesh was run a little bit tighter. So the mesh gets a little muddy for me, meaning that it's down the field, so it happens further down here, and that kind of muddies the picture for the basic, in my opinion. The basic's there. The other problem, Zach Wilson, and this is something I've always felt with Zach Wilson since he's been in the league, is his pocket presence for me brings him to trouble. So what does that mean? That means when he hits the back here, just stay back here. Stay back here as opposed to climbing up in the pocket and bringing and making it feel like you've got to go and spin out and go make some crazy ass play. Just hit your back foot, hit that back foot, and stay there. Keep that base and get through the read. If he could get through the read of out, no, mesh, muddy, basic, hell yes. Okay, so that's a lot. So the first part we're going to look at is just the back of the drop. Let's stay here and let this thing develop. Again, I get it that it's easy for me to say, hey, just come out here and go, 1, mesh, basic, 3. But that's what the play is. It's playing NFL quarterback. So again, just make sense of it. We'll go through it together. Right here, we're just going to look first at the drop, the footwork from the pocket. So does he bring himself to trouble? See how he climbs up into the pocket and feels like there's all sorts of pressure? Now he's got to spin out, make some miracle play. Just stay back there. Stay on the 38. Stay at the 40. Okay, so no to the speed out up top. Then see how the mesh, to me, gets depth, especially the number 1 from the top. He's getting so much depth that it muddies that in, because now watch the in. Whoom. And then we'll be able to see it really from the back. You can see how it's really there. Just let that thing develop. Stay on your launch point and throw it. As opposed to spin out, circus, fall, trip. Everything's like a near disaster. So I'm acknowledging the fact that I don't love the layout of this play, whether it's execution by the perimeter, the wide receiver. But you can see here, if he just goes, he's looking left. He's not lined up to the left. That's a whole different subject. But looking left, then he comes back to the mesh. It's muddy. Just stay right here and let this in develop. So again, don't freak out that it's not there yet. You can see the mesh here, right? So here's the mesh coming this way. Here's the mesh coming this way. Now again, I've already said that I would prefer it to happen at around 5 yards so that it cleans this thing up, because this is going to be there. And so you've got to have the patience to go, let these guys clear out of here, and then it creates this lane for the basic. And again, y'all, I know it's easy with a clicker. So don't be the guy who hits me in the comments like, yeah, thanks, bro. But you can see the in. Look at the in. Mesh, in. There it is. But he's already spun out. And that's the other part about it. He plays from the pocket a little too quick for me. The game looks a little fast still, as opposed to letting things develop. Next one here. This is an absolute bomb. Perfect throw. Love it. This looks like Aaron Rodgers is rubbing off on him. And what I mean by that is not only obviously the downfield accuracy, thanks, but watch the top of his drop. He's holding that safety to our left, and then he flips over. That's a Aaron Rodgers-y move. That's a Betty move, to be able to not be lined up at the back, but use your head and shoulders to hold that middle field player and then snap over. Boom. And then drop it right down the line. That is an absolute perfect throw. And again, in the league, often talk about where you're throwing this ball. You're throwing this thing down the red line. So usually the red line is 5 yards from the sideline in the league at a lot of practice fields. And you want to throw that thing right down the line of this guy to be able to allow this thing, drop it out of the rafters, right down the line, to allow him to go run and make a play. And you'd love the guy to keep his feet right here. But regardless, this is a hell of a play, hell of a throw. But man, I love just the little nuance and details of him at the very top. Just look at the very top of this drop and tell me it doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers. Hold that middle field player, snap. That is decisive. He knows exactly where he's going with that ball at the top of the drop. Boom, snap. And then obviously you've got to be able to put it right on him. Now, the other part about this, if I'm going to clown on a lot of the design, I'm going to have to at least acknowledge the stuff that I like. Okay, so what I like being in 12 personnel. Okay, so you've got the wing here. You really have both goes win here. You could pick either one. You're going to end up getting middle field closed with 12 personnel 3x1. So you've got the exact look you want to take a shot. Okay, so I love the design here. Love the protection. Block it up. Take a shot. But man, quarterback execution-wise, this thing is outstanding. Really nice job. The drop and the snap. Boom. And again, the ball is perfect. That goes without saying. Keep your feet and go score. Aaron loves it. That's awesome, especially right in front of your sideline. Again, appreciate the drop here and the snap at the top. Boom. Oh, that is outstanding. Because oftentimes you'll say in the league, they'll say, hey, the wide receiver's got to beat the corner. You got to beat the safety. So you got to hold that safety, get the ball up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Snap. Again, just check out his feet. This is one of those times I don't think you need to be lined up if you're going to do this technique. Now, do I love, the heel click coming together? Not really. But again, if you can catch this rhythm, if you're going to play with the Aaron Rodgers rhythm in your drop, you can get away with this, especially when you drop an absolute seed down the field. Outstanding. Halftime, you dig the channel and you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications, let it wash over you. I sincerely appreciate the support for the channel. It means a lot to me, so thank you for that. In addition, the Quarterback School Patreon community. This group is the foundation, the bedrock of this channel. Not only is it a great way and never been cheaper to support the channel that way, but you get even more Quarterback School content. So if you love the YouTube channel, you will love the Quarterback School Patreon community. I sincerely appreciate it. We also have Quarterback School courses. Now, this is definitely the premier content available through the channel on all of my favorite football topics, RPOs, how to beat every coverage, pass protection, tempos. We even offer an entire offense. So if you're interested and enjoy how I teach ball, you will love the Quarterback School courses. Get over there, check them all out. The links are in the video description. We also have a bunch of free resources available, even have a free course. So get over there, check those things out. The links are in the video description. Finally, follow me on X or Twitter or whatever the hell it's called. I sincerely appreciate your support going back and forth. It's fun for me. I think I do the Insta thing as well. Get over there, check it all out. I appreciate it. As for this video, let's get back to it. Next one here, 3rd and 11. This is a tough one for me. I don't love the design. The leverage is not great. I'd love to see him get through the read, even though I don't think there's necessarily a great option for Zach Wilson either. You could probably make the case that this is holding on the slot defender as well on 82 right there. Illegal contact. But again, concept-wise here, this is tough for me because you're looking at this thing going, it's 3rd and 11. There's no good plays. But if we're going to burst up and run out of this thing, when you've got outside leverage here, this throw is going to be really tough. Okay, you pair that with, it looks like they're running a post here and an in. Okay, and the reality is that the ball probably should go back to the in, or you should at least be working back to the in. So this idea being, you hit this back drop, you see the leverage that you don't like here, and he doesn't win. The other thing you could say here is, man, it'd be really nice if we burst up here, sell this thing like you're running an over, give me something at the top, and then snap out. As opposed to me, this is a little banana-y at the top where he just kind of rounds this thing out. You're never going to separate like this route at the top. Okay, so yeah, I think I prefer if he tried to come back and work this in. Now, is the in there? Not really. And you've got like an extra hole player back there. You know, maybe you got to run around, scramble, make a play. But this to me is, once you acknowledge the fact that, yeah, you could call defensive illegal contact down the field, but it's not a great route by the slot. He doesn't win. You know, could you work the in at the very top, up top? It's going to be tough. You know, there's just not a lot of good options. This is why you think, you know, scheme doesn't help Zach Wilson at all here. There's no winners. There's no perimeter explosiveness. There's no separation. There's no space. But this is also isn't a great call versus this coverage unless you're going to throw the in to the left. He's just locked on. And again, this is the part where you're going to need Zach Wilson to develop eventually. To not just say, hey, I'm throwing it here no matter what. Blinders, rip, miss. Next one here, a little halfback screen. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one other than mentioning Zach Wilson. On these screens, I personally would just be really cautious of drifting to his left or right here. See how he drifts? Again, he just brings himself to trouble. Now, it's not much here, but it does kind of impact the play. So watch him drift to the left. Yeah, and if they're teaching that, I definitely wouldn't want to do that. So I'd want to stay right in the middle. What you normally tell these guys, well, just so we be all on the same page here as far as the teaching, I'm talking about dropping right here and hanging right here. Oftentimes you'll see quarterbacks want to drift here, and you really don't want to drift because we're oftentimes asking these tackles to slingshot the defensive ends. So they're short setting, both of them, and they're usually inviting that wide rush. So you want that wide rush so that you can essentially slingshot this cat past the quarterback. You want to get him past the quarterback. Both these guys will slingshot. So you don't want to keep drifting. And you sure as hell don't want to drift towards the slingshot. It might be intuitive to say, oh, I'm going to drift away from the screen side. But really, again, this is Zach Wilson. He's just bringing himself to trouble again. And this is a real little detailed one. I get it. but it feels like it's all over his game, where he just makes life more difficult on himself than he has to. And it works here. And you might be saying, dude, you're being way too picky. Well, if they're not being picky like this in their meeting room, they're doing him a disservice. Also, check out the wide receiver at the bottom down here if you want to see some effort. This is how you get pop on film. You want to show up on a preseason game, go dump a corner on a screen. Love it. But again, he gets a completion. I'm not saying it's a disaster, but even on these little completions, you can see the area, the refinement that's available for Zach Wilson. Again, drifting to your left, going to trouble, good enough, but we can make it more polished. Last one here, 3rd and 3. This is one of those ones for me. This is the same play that we started off the video with. So the tight end to the bottom is running an out. The number 1 to the bottom is running a speed out. We got the crosser in the in. He works all the way back to the in here, and it gets batted down. To me, this shows Zach Wilson playing too fast. The ball needs to go to the over here, in my opinion. So watch his eyes to the right. No, back to the over, it's not there, and he's all the way to the in. So see how the timing of this thing is jacked? So no right there. He's off of it too early to the number 1. See him already looking at the over down the hash? Now it's not there yet. So now he's to the in, and it's batted down. Okay, but this thing, if you allow this thing to be tethered to your feet, so much more, hey, I'm going to hit the back of my drop. I'm going to take 3, and then 1 is over here, right? We've already seen him throw the tight end right here. He's also got the out over here, which could easily be 2. So 1 and 2 are over here. Then you've got this crosser. So you allow this thing to be developed, and then when you snap back to the number 3, it's there, especially in man coverage, bro, where you could just lay this thing out here and let him run to it. It just, these are the ones that, man, I'm telling you, this is going to be tough for him to be able to just develop the patience to play this thing from within the pocket. He's playing too fast. The old kind of Rob Johnson vibe. Just look at that thing. Damn. That is there. 3rd and long, we missed that. That's a bummer because it's really there, but you can see here the polish of it isn't for me. And again, we're not in their room. We don't know exactly what they're asking him to do footwork-wise, but you can see no, yes. If he just lets that thing develop to the over, 1, 2, 3, no to the tight end, no to the speed out, back to the over, yes. I mean, man. And that's a nice job from the corner. Also for the Browns up top, falling out underneath that, inside release in. It's never there. It's a bad decision. Fortunate that it gets tipped potentially. But man, these are those plays where I wish he could take the rhythm that he's playing with on that deep go ball and play with the same rhythm here through the read. So 1, no, damn. So that is a wrap. Zach Wilson, Hall of Fame preseason game. Again, people are going to crazy overreact one way or the other. I think that deep throw for Zach Wilson showed me that he's got the potential to be able to take things from Aaron Rodgers and immediately insert it into his game. He's always been able to spin it. He really has. And when he's decisive and knows where to go with the ball, I think he's got the opportunity and has already proven that he can be a pretty good quarterback. He's got the arm talent certainly to do that. It's the next steps for me. It's the nuance. It's the understanding the rhythm of getting through reads, of being able to do it consistently from the launch point that I think we and the Jets community is going to need, and the Jets coaching staff probably in the organization is going to need to see from Zach Wilson if he's ever going to be the guy again. So just being able to take that Aaron Rodgers rhythm on the deep ball and apply that and overlay that into just normal drop back passes. Just be able to get through reads and put it to the open guy on time when you're supposed to from the launch point. I think that will be the next step and really the big step for Zach Wilson moving forward. So thank you so much for hanging to the end. I will see you next time. Have a good one.